Welcome to Reflections for anyone looking for just a little bit of church. This week, Jesus implies that we should have a slave-like attitude toward building our faith. Let's explore his words. A reading from Luke's Gospel. The apostles said to the Lord, "Increase our faith." The Lord replied, "If you had faith the size of a mustard seed, you could say to this mulberry tree, 'Be uprooted and planted in the sea,' and it would obey you. Who among you would say to your slave who has just come in from plowing or tending sheep in the field, 'Come here at once and take your place at the table'? Would you not rather say to him, 'Prepare supper for me, put on your apron and serve me while I eat and drink. Later you may eat and drink'? Do you thank the slave for doing what was commanded? So you also, when you have done all that you were ordered to do, say, 'We are worthless slaves. We have done only what we ought to have done.'" Here ends the reading. It is helpful, I think, to break up this gospel reading into two segments. The first paragraph compares our faith to that of a mustard seed, with an understanding that such a seed is about 1/8 of an inch in size. We learn that if our faith is only as big as this small element in God's kingdom, we can still command a mulberry tree to replant itself in the sea, and it will obey. Mulberry trees grow 30 to 60 feet tall and 20 to 40 feet wide, so it's a big tree. And according to sources, its root system expands quickly. And we can assume that Jesus knows that it is difficult to uproot. So by implying that his disciples' faith, and indeed our own, is something much smaller than even a mustard seed, Jesus is letting us know that our faith has a lot of growing to do if we are to be truly faithful. The second paragraph asks us to be like a slave owner whose slaves are coming in from the fields, and Jesus asks us if we want the slaves to serve us or be seated at the table. Jesus says that we would, of course, ask them to first serve us. Jesus wants us then to have a slave-like approach to our faith. Indeed, we are asked to feel a bit like worthless slaves, and that our service to God, past, present, and future service, is only what we ought to have done or do. If left to our own devices, we have no possible way to grow our faith to any measurable and meaningful level in our march towards God's kingdom. We know that we cannot be faith-filled or faithful in a way that would allow us to uproot a huge tree. We have not the power of a hurricane or a caterpillar tractor. Even if we dutifully serve God in all that we do, we still fall far short with sinful behaviors in what we do and in what we leave undone. Only through the grace of God can we, of course, try to build the level of faith that Jesus wants us to have. And only through the grace of God can we serve God well, as we are all worthless slaves of sin and of this world. Only through the grace of God can we expect a place at his table in heaven. While I don't like the idea of being a slave, I invite you to first remember the best server at a restaurant that you have ever had. Remember how cheerful and attentive they were. They made each dish even better than it was as they seemed empowered to go above and beyond for any of our wants or desires. So now let us get to work. With the strongest faith we can muster, let's serve God like the best waiter or waitress ever. We will make mistakes, undoubtedly, but we will counter it with a grateful and happy heart. For we are in God's company and have the opportunity to serve Him as faithfully as we are able. Amen. Please join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. My song choice this week is really upbeat. It is Faith by Hillsong Worship. I love the lyrics. I can move the mountain. I can do all things through Christ. These are great, faith-filled words. Enjoy.